Enthusiasm is the fire that ignites hearts, awakens passion, and drives action. But without self-control, this fire is not a force. It's a threat, consuming everything in its path. True strength is not in reckless energy, but in the iron will that directs it toward creation. The balance between fierce inspiration and cold resilience forges individuals who don't just exist, but reshape the destiny of the world. A study of U.S. prisons revealed a staggering truth. 92% of inmates ended up behind bars because they failed to control their inner fire. Their emotions became their masters rather than their servants, destroying their lives. Isn't this the root of many of our own troubles? A single moment of weakness can send everything you've built tumbling into the abyss. Self-control is not just a trait, it's a weapon that prevents downfall. Scripture repeatedly emphasizes, do not repay evil with evil, love your enemies, forgive those who wrong you. Non-resistance to violence is not surrender. It is the triumph of the spirit that demands superhuman strength. Look at history's greatest figures. They were not shattered by tempests of anger because they held themselves in check. Self-control is a hallmark of those who rise above chaos. Now consider this. What separates winners from the defeated? The one who masters themselves holds the key to their fate. Without it, you're just a spark that burns out in darkness. With it, you're a flame that lights the way and changes the rules of the game. Self-control is not a limitation, it is freedom. The freedom to be stronger than your weaknesses, to create rather than destroy. Master yourself, and no storm will break your resolve. Self-control is not just a shield against misfortune, it is the key to great achievements. Losing it, a person doesn't just harm others, they shatter their own destiny. One moment forever changed the life of this text's author. He encountered a building worker who repeatedly turned off the lights in his office. On the day of an important speech, his patience snapped. He stormed into the basement, finding the worker at his task, and unleashed his anger. But the man, without raising his voice, calmly replied, "You're having a rough day, aren't you?" These words struck like lightning. Before him stood a man with no formal education, yet with such inner strength that a single sentence crushed his fury. In that moment, the author realized the aggressor wasn't the worker. It was him. Shame burned, but retreat was not an option. Gritting his teeth, he turned back and apologized. The response? Forget it, no worries. This simple act of grace opened his eyes. Self-control is not just about avoiding conflict, it is victory over oneself that elevates. That day was a turning point. The author vowed never again to let anger take over, and the world around him changed. His words became sharpened like steel. People sensed his newfound strength, and enemies faded into the shadows. He grasped an unshakable truth. Those who cannot control themselves will never control the world. Self-control is not chains. It is wings. It lifts you above your weaknesses and clears the path to greatness. From that moment, every step he took was measured, every strike precise. Because true power is not in shouting, but in the silence that conquers the storm. Master yourself, and you will stand unshaken, like a rock amidst the waves. Without self-control, people don't just lose moments. They scatter opportunities like ashes in the wind. Imagine a salesman. A customer throws a rude remark and he snaps back. The deal is lost, the chance wasted. Now picture a young woman at a complaint counter. Furious customers hurl insults, but she remains composed, guiding them toward resolution with a faint smile. She is deaf, literally unable to hear their anger, and that's exactly why she was chosen for the role. Her self-control is not a weakness, but an art that turns chaos into order. Self-control is not a cage. It is the key to true freedom. It is the choice of those who do not bend under storms, but command them. It takes wild enthusiasm and forges it into a weapon, not for destruction, but for creation. Without it, you are fire consuming itself. With it, you are a beacon cutting through the darkness, leading others forward. So, what do you choose? To burn blindly until you fade away, or to shine so brightly that your legacy lasts forever? Self-control is not a gift. It's a decision. Make it, and the world will step aside for your strength. Look around. Every day, people throw away opportunities like trash simply because they lack self-discipline. The author once had a friend struggling in business school, unable to close enough deals. Frustration pushed him to the brink of quitting, but the author stepped in, showing him the power of structured effort. Instead of wasting time on one client at a time, he taught him to pitch to groups. The results were stunning: 15 new students in just 6 hours. This leap didn't just save his career, it launched his own business, making him the master of his fate. Opportunities don't hide. They wait for those with the vision to see them. Success is a fusion of imagination, clear goals, self-belief, and unwavering self-control. Without it, you are a rudderless ship, chasing the wind. True strength lies in mastery over oneself. This skill paves the way to greatness, turning dreams into reality. To develop self-control, start simple. When anger or temptation rises, pause. Take a deep breath, count to 10, and ask yourself, will this bring me closer to my goal? This moment of restraint is your first step toward mastery. Practice it daily, and over time, you won't just tame your emotions. You'll make them your allies on the road to the top. A person with self-control does not let emotions pull their strings or hand the reins to others. Love can lift you up, but if it blinds you and leaves you defenseless, it's like being a lamb among wolves. Such an individual doesn't bow to cynics or pessimists, nor does he let external voices dictate his thoughts. His imagination and enthusiasm burn bright, but they do not rage wildly. He channels them into productive action, not reckless impulses. He doesn't seek revenge, weave intrigues, or cling to resentment over others' opinions. He finds stepping stones for growth in every challenge. One of the greatest traps of self-control is rushing to conclusions without facts. No one has the right to judge without truth or logic. Yet how often do we make decisions based on whims or fears? Another danger is wastefulness. Spending beyond your means is theft from your own future. An economist once warned, a nation that cannot save will lose its wealth in 3 generations. People take out loans for flashy cars, trading stability for illusion. Savings are not just numbers. They are proof of discipline, clearing the path to opportunity. A person earning $15,000 a year who receives an extra $1,000 often spends it on a fleeting indulgence rather than securing their future, growing poorer in both wallet and spirit. The golden balance between greed and wastefulness is the road to freedom through self-control. Consider this. Imagine a friend who dreamed of starting his own business. He didn't earn much, but each month he set aside 10% of his income, even if it meant skipping trendy clothes or restaurant dinners. In 3 years, he accumulated enough for startup capital, and his discipline attracted investors who believed in his resilience. Today, he owns a thriving business, while those who mocked his stinginess are still drowning in debt for their fleeting luxuries. The 24-hour rule, the power of self-discipline. Before making any major decision or purchase, give yourself 24 hours to reflect. Ask yourself, will this bring me closer to my goals, or is it just a fleeting indulgence? This pause acts as a filter against chaos and a gateway to strong self-control. Discipline is the backbone of inner strength. It tames desires, curbs impulsive reactions, and preserves energy for what truly matters. The author recalls how, early in his career, he witnessed people squandering their potential by tearing down others' successes. A jealous rival tried to destroy his reputation. At first, anger surged, fists clenched, ready to retaliate. But as he sat at his typewriter, he stopped and thought, I have an advantage. I can forgive, but he cannot. That thought became his guiding light. Instead of waging a fruitless battle, he channeled his energy into creating. History remembers the builders, not the destroyers. Giants like Warren Harding and John Patterson didn't waste their energy on revenge. They chose self-control, and the world honors their legacy. Everyone faces a crossroads: burn out in battles with critics or shine in your craft. Greatness demands dignity. Live so that your name becomes a symbol of strength, honor, and principles. Achieve success not through shortcuts but through the value of your actions. Hard work is not a burden. It is the forge where joy and growth are created. True success isn't found in external praise but in the depths of your own consciousness. Meet challenges with courage. Act without hesitation. Do not postpone today's battles for tomorrow. Procrastination steals your victories. Master your pleasures to stay loyal to your friends, unwavering before others, and pure before your conscience. Self-discipline is not just about control. It is the freedom to be yourself in a world that tries to break you. A lesson in persistence. Imagine a young artist whose work is mocked at an exhibition. Instead of arguing or giving up, he silently returns to his studio. Every day he refines his craft, ignoring the ridicule until, years later, his paintings sell for thousands. His silence and perseverance outlasted the noise of his critics. A daily habit for mastering self-control. Each evening, take 5 minutes to write down 3 moments when you could have lost control but didn't. Analyze what stopped you and praise yourself for it. This habit strengthens your willpower and reminds you that every small victory over yourself is a brick in the foundation of your greatness. The ladder of success. Those who reach the heights of success stand firmly on the steps of self-control. Those who fall do so because they sink into the swamp of their own weaknesses. Compare Jesse James and Napoleon. One was a slave to his impulses, leading to his downfall. The other mastered himself and built an empire. Observe people. Successful individuals control their thoughts, words, and actions, while failures drown in a storm of whims. One of the most dangerous traps of self-control is excessive talking. Wise individuals choose their words like precious gems. Empty chatter drains energy and dissolves into nothingness. Listening is far more valuable than speaking. True listening enriches your knowledge and strengthens your power. But real listening requires self-discipline, and the rewards are immense. Speaking too much is not just impolite, it robs you of the chance to gain deeper insight. Silence is not weakness, it is a weapon. It creates space for reflection and allows you to hear what the talkers miss. Great leaders spoke little but listened as if their future depended on it. Abraham Lincoln, for example, would spend hours listening to his advisors before uttering a word that would shape history. His silence was his strength. Next time you feel the urge to speak, pause. Ask yourself, will this add value? If not, stay silent and listen. Daily practice of this restraint will sharpen your self-discipline and open doors to wisdom that cannot be bought with words. Assess yourself. After reading this, take a moment to evaluate your own self-control. Maybe it's time to reassess where you stand. The author of this course studied the lives of great leaders and found an undeniable truth. Self-control is their cornerstone. Luther Burbank, the genius botanist, ranked it as the highest of his 15 laws of success. Even in nature, from a seed to a towering tree, growth is impossible without inner discipline. The wealthiest self-made individuals had self-control in abundance. Without it, fortune slips like sand through fingers and success remains an illusion. Consider Thomas Edison. Thousands of failed attempts never broke him because he had the discipline to persist when others would have quit. His self-control turned failures into the light bulb that brightens the world. Without this trait, talent is wasted and strength is blind. Self-control is not just a tool, it is the foundation of everything enduring and great. A practical exercise. Once a week, have a day of silence. Limit your words, focus on listening and analysis. Take notes on when you held back and when you gave in to impulses. This practice won't just refine your discipline, it will reveal the immense power hidden in mastering yourself. You won't just improve your self-control, you will forge yourself anew. A story of discipline and triumph. Famed journalist and publisher Edward Bach shared a story that showcases how self-control propelled him to success. A reader once wrote to him, filled with resentment, "It's easy for you to preach about saving money when you've never known poverty. How can one survive on $800 a year?" Bach responded from the depths of his soul, "Do I not know what struggle is? At 6, my father lost everything, and we were stranded in a foreign country, penniless, hopeless. I didn't speak English, I was bullied at school, and home was empty. After class, my brother and I didn't play. We helped our exhausted mother. In winter, we sifted through ashes for bits of coal. I washed bakery windows, chased pennies selling newspapers, ran errands, wrote reports, and sold lemonade on street corners. We lived on $6.25 a week. And when we finally earned $800 a year, we felt like kings. Bach emphasized, I walked every jagged path of poverty. I felt its pain, its despair. And I am grateful for it sharpened me, taught me to value every cent, and prepared me for life in ways no university could. Poverty is a challenge that throws down the gauntlet. I accepted it for my mother. I took every job, gave my all, and searched for a way up. Every step strengthened my resilience, wisdom, and humanity. Poverty is a gift, but only for those who force it into submission. This story is more than a memory. It's proof that self-control turns hardship into a stairway to the stars. Bach didn't whine or give up. He held himself together when others would have crumbled. Look at today's titans like Elon Musk. In his youth, he lived in a tiny apartment, working through the night. Yet discipline and belief in himself carried him to billions and beyond. Self-control isn't mere endurance. It's the fire that forges destiny. Practical tips for strengthening self-control. 1. Set clear goals. Instead of vague ambitions, define concrete steps. Example, instead of, I want to be more productive, say, I will write 500 words daily. 2. Practice mindfulness. Pause before reacting impulsively. Ask, why do I want this? Do I really need it? Start with 5 minutes of daily meditation. 3. Avoid temptation. Reduce friction. If you want to cut social media use, delete apps. If you want to eat healthier, remove junk food from your home. 4. Build willpower. Gradually, small wins add up. Start with easy habits like making your bed daily or stretching for 5 minutes. 5. Rest and recharge. Lack of sleep weakens discipline. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of rest, eat balanced meals, and take short breaks during work. Discipline isn't a burden. It's the wings that lift you to success.